The term Mario RPG is a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? Mario games are known for their fast, fluid action, split-second decisions, quick reflexes, that sort of thing. The entire experience is designed around one central idea. Think the water jets in Sunshine or the cap captures in Odyssey. RPGs aren't that. These games, especially turn-based ones, are all about taking one's time and developing a winning strategy. Many systems work in tandem to form a cohesive whole. Exploring how different ideas relate to one another is a big part of what makes the genre appealing. Yet this odd intersection has produced some of Nintendo's most revered titles. Super Mario RPG, the Mario & Luigi series, Mario & Rabbids, and, of course, Paper Mario. Like its platformer counterpart, Paper Mario is simple to understand while housing immense depth beneath the surface. The first two games in the series use a battle system that simultaneously holds the player's hand and asks them to be strategic. It's the partners. It's all about the partners. The original Paper Mario has 8 characters that join the player's party over the course of the adventure. A significant part of the game's appeal comes from seeing what new character will turn up next. Each one has their own backstory and personality, adding even more charm to the already charming world. But it goes deeper than aesthetics. The partners are fundamental to keeping Paper Mario's battle system engaging during the player's journey across the Mushroom Kingdom. The partners keep the battles simple, yet prevent them from becoming mindless. The partners set Paper Mario apart from just about every other RPG out there. To understand how Mario's friends work, we'll have to start by taking a look at Mario himself. He is, obviously, the character the player has the most control over. He will always be an active member in the party. In battle, he has 2 basic attacks, a jump and a hammer. A jump deals 2 small chunks of damage to an enemy's head, while the hammer deals a single large chunk of damage to an enemy's front. Just about all enemies can be taken out with these 2 moves. But that's no fun, just using the basic moves. To spice things up, Mario can use special abilities that he gets from equipable badges. A jump might do more damage, a hammer might harm multiple foes, that sort of thing. These moves often consume flower points, this game's equivalent of magic or stamina, so the player has to use these moves sparingly. Also, Mario can only wear a few badges at once, so picking which special moves to equip is an important decision. Mario can also use consumable items that deal damage, and he can call upon rescued Star Spirits for help. But since all the items are single use, and the Star Spirits can't be called on every turn, they have to be saved for special occasions. So really, Mario's the man. He can do everything. He could take down every opponent by himself if he wanted to. So why does he need a partner, much less 8 of them? In battle, the player gets 2 actions per turn. One is Mario's, and the other is the active partner's. These actions can be taken in any order. Only one partner can be active at any given time, but they can be swapped mid-battle. Each partner has a standard move, kind of like Mario's jump or hammer attack, that they can use for free. But they also have special moves that only they can pull off. Goombario's basic attack is Head Bonk, which acts a lot like Mario's jump. His special ability is Tattle, which gives information about the foe he's facing. Kooper's basic attack is Shell Toss, which acts kinda like Mario's hammer. He's able to harm all the enemies on the ground with his special Power Shell move. Bombette attacks one enemy on the ground with her Body Slam. She can deal more damage with her special bomb ability. Parakarry kicks an enemy with a basic Skydive. His special Shell Shot move will deal significant damage. Lady Bow performs a string of 1 damage slaps with her basic move. She can hide Mario with her Out of Sight action, causing an enemy's attack to miss. Baby Watt harms one enemy with her basic Electro Dash move and immobilizes it with her special Power Shot move. Sushi's basic move is Belly Flop. Her special move squirts a jet of water at an enemy, something fire foes aren't too fond of. And finally, Lackluster throws 1 Spiny at an enemy for free, or he can throw a lot of Spinies at a lot of enemies as a special move. And these 8 characters will learn more special moves over the course of the adventure. Each partner can be upgraded up to 2 times, giving 2 additional special moves. But of course, there's a catch. The special moves, like Mario's badge abilities, consume flower points. There's a finite number of times the player can use these special moves before having to heal. These moves are effective in tough battles, but they're not ideal for standard combat. The average battle doesn't require the use of special moves really at all. This is where the partner's shortcomings come into play. Almost all enemies in Paper Mario have some sort of defense, some aspect that makes them impervious to certain attacks. If I had to put them into categories, they'd look something like this. 1. Standard ground enemies. They can be hit with any move. They have no defense. 2. Flying enemies. They are in the air, so they have to be hit with a jump or some similar attack. 3. Spiked enemies. They have big old spikes on their noggins, so jumping is a no-go. They have to be hit with a hammer or something like it. 4. Defense enemies. They have some sort of built-in defense stat that reduces the amount of damage received. If they have a defense stat of 1, each strike will be reduced by 1 point. Moves that consolidate the damage dealt, as opposed to spreading it out over several strikes, will be more useful. 5. Shelled enemies. They have defense, but they can be flipped over with a jump. Once flipped, their defense will be 0. 6. No contact enemies. Any attack that requires direct contact will harm the player. This includes fire enemies, electrified enemies, explosive enemies, and enemies with front-facing spikes. And 7. Ceiling enemies. They camp out on the ceiling, so they'll need to be knocked down to the floor somehow. When looking at Mario's standard moveset, he has certain moves that are primed to take down different types of opponents. His jump is perfect for standard, flying, and shelled dudes. However, jumping on a spiked enemy will harm him. Defense enemies won't receive much damage either, and no contact enemies will also hurt. His hammer move fills in these gaps though. It's the perfect move to take down spiked, defense, and no contact foes. On the flip side, his hammer won't reach a flying guy, and it might not be the best move to take down a shelled enemy. So on Mario's turn, he'll be able to take on just about everything with his standard 2 moves. The ceiling enemies are the only enemy type Mario will have trouble with. To take them down without consuming flower points, he'll need some help. From a partner, perhaps. More on that in a bit. The partner's standard moves have inherent limitations. Goombario's head bonk looks identical to Mario's jump. Early in the game, when it's just Mario and Goombario versus the world, the player's available actions look like this. When facing off against a spiked enemy, Goombario is useless. Taking down that foe is a job for Mario's hammer alone. Goombario has to focus on the other enemies at play. So for example, if they're facing a flying Goomba and a spiked Goomba, Goombario needs to attack the former, while Mario needs to focus on the latter. Mario can take down both enemies with his basic moves, but he needs to plan his actions around his partner's limitation. This is just a simple example, but Paper Mario is filled with these sorts of scenarios. The second major dungeon, Tootin' Koopa's Tomb, features 4 main enemy types. At this point in the story, Mario has met 4 of his partners, each of which is primed to take down one of the different enemies. Goombario can flip the shelled Buzzy Beetles, Kooper can hurt the no-contact Pokies, Bombette can blast through the high-defense Chain Chomps, and Parakarry can knock the swoops off the ceiling. While each partner has an advantage over one enemy type, they're weak against just about everything else. Goombario, Bombette, and Parakarry can't hurt the Pokies. If they find themselves in a battle against one, taking it down will be exclusively Mario's job. The swoops present an interesting problem. Since they start the battle on the ceiling, they belong to the one enemy camp that Mario can't hurt with his standard moveset. He could use a Quake Hammer badge or use a POW block item, but what if the player doesn't have either of those on hand? Enter Parakarry. He's the first party member that can hit the ceiling guys. He has an advantage that not even Mario has. But gaining that advantage also means taking on Parakarry's limitations. He can't flip the Buzzy Beetles, so that puts more pressure on Mario to do so. Taking down the Pokies will also be exclusively Mario's job. If the player wants Parakarry's advantage, they'll have to build their battle strategy around his shortcomings. Occasionally, Paper Mario will encourage the use of one partner over the others. As soon as Lady Bow joins the party, the player will face off against these hyper enemies. They'll spend one turn charging up, and their next turn dealing a devastating amount of damage. The player can either take the hit, not recommended, or have Bow hide Mario. The hyper enemy's attack will miss, and Mario can get back to brawling. Since Bow is the encouraged character in these bouts, her limitation comes to light. Her basic smack ability is great against a lot of enemies, but not the hyper clefs. They have hefty defense, so Bow's string of 1 damage hits does nothing. Attacking the clefs is a job for Mario's hammer alone. Bow can provide support or focus on the weaker enemies. Other times, Paper Mario will put the titular character in the back seat. The volcano on Lava Lava Island is filled with spiky Buzzy Beetles and lava bubbles. Watt is the prime choice for taking care of the spiky Buzzy Beetles, since she can pierce through their defense. In order for Mario to do any damage, he'll have to equip a badge, either a Quake Hammer or a Spike Guard. Without them, Mario is stuck using his basic hammer, chipping away at their health. So Watt is the prime candidate for this dungeon, or she would be, except she can't hurt the lava bubbles, like, at all. They are no-contact enemies, so the only viable standard attacks are Mario's hammer or Kooper's basic attack. Except, Sushi has a special ability designed to harm the fire enemies. The lava bubbles have high health, so spraying water is an effective strategy. So Sushi is the way to go for this level, right? This central question of which partner to use ultimately comes down to how the player builds their Mario. Want to use what? Okay, go ahead and equip some fire resistance and get ready to hammer away. You want to use Sushi? Okay, go ahead and put on the Spike Guard and/or Quake Hammer because you're not going to hurt the spiky beetles any other way. Also, be sure to stock up on items that restore flower points because Mario and Sushi will burn through them with this battle plan. In either case, the partner drives Mario's actions. The partner dictates the player's behavior. This, to me at least, is what makes Paper Mario such a fascinating entry in the RPG canon. RPGs allow for plenty of party customization, but it's rarely as literal and direct as this. Changing party members will also change the entire battle dynamic. It changes how the player uses the character whose name is on the box. Paper Mario has been referred to as a beginner RPG, a designation that I've always thought was more than a little backhanded. Like it's somehow lesser because it's a relatively easy game that uses small numbers and isn't an epic in the traditional sense. Instead, Paper Mario finds strength in its simplicity. The game strips away the stats and crunch the genre is known for, and instead builds a gameplay system around simple, strategic decision-making. And oftentimes, the decisions have been made for the player as soon as the battle begins. Paper Mario also avoids the common RPG trap of just using the basic attack over and over and over again. The player can't just grind levels until they're unstoppable. Those spike enemies will always hurt a jumper. Planning, to some extent or another, is required to progress. So maybe Paper Mario is a beginner RPG after all. It teaches the player how to interact with a turn-based system. I know this is anecdotal, but Paper Mario was the first RPG I ever beat. And sure, the vibrant visuals and humorous story helped, but the gameplay is what was ultimately important. Even though it's relatively basic, Paper Mario doesn't talk down to the player. It guides them, holds their hand a bit, but it never outright tells them what to do. Like a good teacher, Paper Mario trusts that the player can figure out these problems on their own. All the pieces of the puzzle are there, the player just has to figure out the best way to put them together. As the game marches on, it becomes less guided. Bombette, for example, starts the game with a limited range. Her special attack can only hurt one ground enemy, but as the player upgrades her, she's able to hurt all enemies on the ground, then all enemies regardless of position. Sushi, likewise, can learn a tidal wave ability that hurts all enemies regardless of their defenses. Mario will find more badges, flower points will become more abundant. Paper Mario starts hand-holdy, then let's go. In the same way that the game teaches the player how to behave in turn-based battles, Mario has someone to teach as well. He could just jump and hammer his way through the entire game. He doesn't really need the partners, except he does. He needs their insight, their special moves. It's worth working around a partner's limitations because the benefits greatly outweigh the setbacks. It's worth taking care of a party of companions. By that same token, the partners don't really need Mario either. Goombario could, hypothetically, just leave at any time, but they all get something out of their adventure together, a once-in-a-lifetime journey to save the princess and bring peace to the Mushroom Kingdom once again. They all do their part. They learn new things, grow stronger, give it their all. They also take care of Mario, doing things that not even he can do. Together, they can save the world. While Paper Mario is an important RPG, it still is, at its core, a Mario game built around one central mechanic: the partners. These 8 friends elevate a by-the-numbers battle system, cultivating hours of strategic, intuitive gameplay. And let's not forget that these 8 characters are characters. The gameplay doesn't hinge on some abstract paradigm. It hinges on a young Goomba from a small town, and a postman, a wealthy ghost, a caretaker, a wannabe cool guy. It hinges on 8 individuals, each with their own story, their own reason for fighting, their own place in the world. Really, these 8 characters are everything. The partners give Paper Mario its power.